This is in my my sketchbook. Okay, so if you'll notice, okay, the main photo we're going to be using is bazaar number 1, okay? So we're looking down this sort of corridor, and this, I know there's, every one of them has corridors. It's the one where the lady is off to the left in that beautiful arch. Okay, and then I use bazaar number 2. I want to use that for the shadows. I love those sleeted, is that what they're called? Pleated or sleeted, those logs. They create all those really cool shadows on everybody's faces, so those are great. And then the other one was bits and pieces of stuff you might want to put in there. I love those tarps. So bazaar number 3, the tarps are great. I mean, that would have made a great painting in itself, really. They're all great. Great for figures, but I love those tarps going across the top. They really create some interesting shadows. So, okay. So here's the first thing. I want you to go make a mark about halfway in your piece. About halfway. Make one about halfway right here. And then come, so you know, there's about halfway. I want you to make me a point a little above the halfway mark, right around here, just a point. Okay, and then draw me some lines like this. That's all. You don't really need them on the other side. This is 1-point perspective. It's the easiest one. Just everything goes to that point. And this line that goes horizontal right here, this is your horizon line, but you can't see the horizon in this piece, but you can tell where it is. You want me to tell you how? Well, the camera, whoever's taking the picture, is a little smaller than the tall guy there, and a little taller than the ladies in back of him, in the center. Okay, so he's right in the middle. So I just picked a point on the wall, like beside them a little bit, and put them in there. Here's the thing. People's heads are generally very close to the horizon line. Now, whoever took the photograph, you can kind of tell, because if you look at everybody's head, some people's heads are lower, some people's heads are higher, but they're generally at about the same area. And that's because the person taking the picture was standing and taking that shot. Now, if they were down on the ground taking a shot, it would be a very different perspective. But this is the general way people take photographs. They're standing and they take the shot. And it's kind of good because it shows you what you would actually be seeing, most likely. So we just need to know that everybody's head in this thing is about around this line that goes across here, that horizon line. Another way to find the horizon line is if you see all those little lines in the walkway, they all kind of come up. And they all come up. There's a little spot on the wall over there. They come up kind of close to that. But you don't. I mean, we can make up our own. It's okay. Mine's pretty close to that too. Okay, so here's what I do. I'm gonna say, okay, around here, and see, the reason I put out these lines is so you won't have to always be drawing lines to this point. They're already there, okay? You just put them there, okay? So let's let's say, for instance, like there's the base of the wall over here. And I'm going to draw that little, what do you call it? I'm going to draw that little, the orange, looks like a building right there. And just go straight across, and there's a little door in it. We're going to leave out the little motorcycles, okay? I don't think we need to draw those. They're complicated, and we don't really need them. That's called editing, okay? Now this line right here will go down to the point like this. That's all. All your lines that are going this way will go to the point. See, this one right here I put in just goes straight across. And there's another one behind it. It goes up and comes over, something like that. About there. And it's got these little things coming out of it. Oh, whatever. And the top of it goes like that to the point. Pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect. And plus it's just a sketch. But this will show you how to do the perspective on the piece. The perspective on the piece might look complicated. It's not, okay? It's not. That's my job on this whole thing, on all of our things, is just to show you how to simplify things. Okay, here's one other thing I really love about this piece is this cool looking arch back here. Beautiful arch. So let's just put that in. There's an arch there. There's sort of a, what do you call it? A thing back there. And then there's another arch back there, really. Arches and arches. So that's all we've done is put a couple of boxes in there. A couple of arches. And then let's do the head. So I think this guy's head right here is a little above the horizon line. So I'm going to put his head about there. Head about there. Look at his body as kind of a box like this. Just like that. I can even darken him in if you like. Okay, then maybe the legs. Take a guess about how long you want the legs to be. That's good. And you got some arms. Arms come down to about the middle of the thighs. And let's just connect things. About like something like that. So he's pretty tall. Whereas this lady walking at him way over here is actually below the line, below the horizon line. She's a good foot smaller than him, no, more than likely. He's probably 6'2", she's probably 5'2". And watch what I do here. Now her feet, because she's so much further away, look, her feet come up to about his knees. So her head is so much smaller. Okay? And we don't have to draw her perfectly. We're just doing a sort of indication. And even when we do the actual piece, we're just going to do like an indication of her. So there's a little purse thing going on there, some legs. But because they're further away, their feet are going to be up higher. And
Rob,
yeah, do you think I should show them the little 1 point? Yeah, what?
you're saying the ladies are below the horizon line because we can see the tops of their heads?
Well,
Is
this
that-
lady is. I think the other lady is like right on it.
Okay.
The other lady right beside, because she's a good 6 inches taller than the other lady. She's, I mean, the other lady's head comes up maybe to her shoulders. So, and you don't always have to get them perfect. I mean, she could be a little taller, it's okay. But, so the other lady, let's say right beside her, we'll just kind of go like this. And she's wearing a kind of a sweater, and she's got kind of. You don't need to put all kinds of detail into this. This will be figural, okay? Think of the word, just what I mean is like representing figures, but not necessarily, you don't need all the detail. We're basically using them as props, like props in the piece. So you can put a couple of people in the background, a couple of shirts. They're further away, so their feet are going to be up higher. See, if you notice, the further away, the higher the feet get up. But look at the heads. Even really far away, the heads will be about the same height. That's because they're about on the same eye level as the photographer. I mean, we don't even probably need any more figures back there than that. We have this lady over here. She's kind of interesting. Now, one of the reasons, now her head will be a little lower, and plus, for one thing, she's very small. But another thing is, she's also, it's a little distorted over here because they're using a very wide-angle lens. So if you were to actually look at this scene, and you were standing there, you wouldn't be able to focus on her until you went over and looked at her. If you're looking at this will be in your peripheral vision over here, which will be a little blurry and a little distorted, which makes it kind of warps a little bit. And so that's one of the reasons her head is a little bit below this all over here. So why don't we can put the arch in like this. Yeah, it's around this far away. Let's see, it's about that far away from from this little box here, and we can just have it come out. In fact, it's pretty high there. We can have it just come out. This angle right here goes to the point. This is just straight up and down. You can put a couple more in there if you like. And then maybe that arch comes up to about here. Don't draw the arch first, put it in a box first. Like this. Remember the bottom goes up? Put it in a box first and figure about where do you want your arch to start. Maybe it comes into about here. So we could just draw an ellipse in there. And it has kind of a thickness to it. And so on, something like that. And then she's about here. There's the eye level line. You could put her up higher. We could do that. We could just put her head. Might be a little large. And if you want to throw that plant in there, might be nice. So once you have a couple of these little props in there, they're great. Now, some rug things, they're just flat. You're just looking flat at them. So maybe they're hanging over the side. Some things, if you want to put a broom in there, go right ahead. Little props are great. And I love these beautiful tarps. I mean, those aren't beautiful tarps. Those are the kind we use now, but I love it when they hang little cloths in there and they just kind of dip down like that and go over. And strings kind of hanging out. Those can be really nice little props. That's pretty good. A couple little dark things in here, a couple little, just a couple little indications of, what do you call that? Cloth, rugs. And okay, so just with black, or if you don't have black, use Prussian blue and red. Cad red. I need some red out there. So, okay. And one thing I see right away is this shadow. Ooh, that's dark. Kind of a shadow being cast by this onto the wall here. That's nice. Throw that down. This. Yep, and all this. Maybe there's a little bit of a light coming on there. Like this. And all this. All that goes into shadow. And so does this. And sure, we have a couple little goodies in here or whatever, but we're just doing a quick comp here. Something over there. She's got a little bit of shading off to the left side. I mean, let's leave all this white for now. That's going to be like my reason for painting this. Believe it or not, is the floor. I mean, of course, the people, I like the people, you know, the people give it life. But I mean, those sleeted, I want to get all of that going on. Those shadows are really great. Right, so we have a shadow in the arch. And it gets pretty dark. And if you make it just a little bit darker, especially right around here, it'll make the opening in the arch back way in the background really pop out. That'd be great. We have a couple little awnings over doors. It could very well be that some of these little rugs and things hanging down are just hanging over them. So you could also put the ground is around there. You know, it does turn and go a different direction. So we'll give it like maybe the ground's around there. There's stuff on the ground. Put it around there. This guy's pretty dark. I didn't really need to darken him in with the pencil. And because the light's coming down from the top and going to the right, we're going to put shadows on them on their left sides. Maybe some little shadows on the ground too, like that. Maybe he's in shadow, I don't know. We'll have them catching a little light over there. Oh, we have a couple little dark, interesting shadows in here. And a whole bunch of things over here that are in shadows, like little rugs and things over here. Maybe a door opening or something. We can be pretty abstract. You wouldn't believe how abstract we can get on this. We can get pretty loose with this thing. Dark in there, like a dark up in there. Something in there. And so this is what I mean when I say like a genre scene, like a figural genre scene. This is what I was talking about. Just more of a scene with figures in it rather than portraits, you know. Put a little bit of something in the... Oh, we got a pretty dark door over here. I didn't see that. Didn't even put that in. That's kind of nice. Really sets her off. A couple more little things back here. Looks like little a little awning. They're just shapes, casting shadows down. Below them will be in shadow. We'll lose our little thing, lose our little dot there. We might even get let's say we have a big wall here casting a shadow. I wanted to do something like this. Even if it's not there. So we have this kind of lead-in shadow. We get something a little bit darker up under the arch. Definitely something darker around this archway over here. See how that showcases things? Maybe pop a little something since it's on my brush in there. Now let's go over to bazaar number 2 and see the little wooden wooden logs on the top. Let's put a couple of those in like this. Let's just bring them across. Maybe they come out to about there. You won't be able to see them everywhere. I think that's enough, actually. I don't want to fill the whole thing up with them. And then you got your point down here, right? Remember that point? We already have a couple of lines going to it. What we can do is, let's just put a couple of those points. I mean, a couple of those little... like that. See how that pulls you into the piece? That's the whole idea of it, to pull the viewer's eye into the piece. Let's see what I got here. I knew there'd be one. Hold on. Just so you all know, oops. Ah, shoot, there we go, okay. Just so you all know, the Zoom link is always the same, okay? It's always, you don't have to ask me for it because it's the same one. And if you don't have it, it's the one we used last week. Remember to put it in a safe place or put it on your calendar. If you have a Google account, just put it on your Google Calendar and... Oh, and there was one more thing. Oh, I forgot to let you know. Well, there's 2 more things. While we're letting this dry up a little bit. Number 1, on April 23rd, I got a funeral I have to be at. So on April 23rd, okay? I'll write that down here. '23rd. No class. and I'll just make that up. I'll add another week on. Sorry about that. It's just, we've been waiting to have this funeral. It's because of COVID. It just keeps getting put off. So,
Is this your father-in-law?
can you believe it? Can you believe it's taken this long?
Oh,
Unbelievable. Because he wanted a very traditional funeral, so that's why. And here's the other thing. This is not related at all. This is just a whole nother topic. Don't come into class too early, okay? Because what happens is that the Zoom starts recording you, or it records even if you don't have your video on. It just starts recording, and that makes our recording much larger. So if you could just come in maybe a few minutes before class, yeah, there's no reason to get here early. You can get all ready and then just tap your Zoom and you'll be right on there. Okay, so yeah, don't come in early to class. I have it set on automatic record, so I won't forget, and then I of course forget. So
So it's
just maybe a few minutes early would be fine, or right at. What was that?
like 3 to 5 minutes early. Is that would be okay?
Yeah, like let's say 3 minutes, because it really only takes just a tap of the button, so there's no really reason to come in too early. Maybe you're a little hesitant because you think maybe something will go wrong or something. I just want to be there early. I get that, but you'll see. If something's that wrong, then it's just really going to be wrong, and there won't be any way I could start the class anyway. Okay, so there's some things I just wanted to get out of the way. I was looking at my little notes here. Okay, I covered everything. Whew. Okay, now let's get back to this. Let's throw some of those. Now here's my point. So I'm just gonna put some shadows on the ground like this. I even want to bring them up on here if I can, like on here, like up on the wall, maybe. I'll put a few more in there. And then this would probably be casting a shadow. So you're going to get a few of these little cross members here too. So what we're going to do is, I'll start it here. We'll make them larger here and straight across, larger here and further apart like this. And then they get a little closer and a little closer and a little closer. See how that makes it? That's called convergence. Look how dramatic that makes it, huh? I love how those just describe everything. And the other one, the only reason I had the other one on there was just for some really neat looking tarps. And if you wanted to throw in an umbrella or something like that for color, or they're great. Any sort of awning would be great. I don't even know when I get into the color, we'll see. So, you could even probably throw something over her, maybe. I don't know. That's probably pretty good. And then what else? Oh yeah, I wanted most of this in shadow. Most of this is going to be in shadow over here because all of this is casting a shadow.
Rob, can I ask you, where do you get your photo references? You didn't take these pictures yourself, or?
Well, yeah, I right after class last week, I got on a plane and no, I'm just joking. No, I get them from Upsplash. It's free photos. There's a lot of these free photo things. They're not the only one. So I have like 3 or 4 of them I go to get the what are they called? The copyright free photos.
I see. Okay, thank you. Upsplash.
Yeah, Upsplash. They're pretty good. And so now let's hit our darkest thing. So,
Unsplash. I'll write it in the chat.
was it called Unsplash? I'm sorry. I thought it was called Upsplash. Thank you. I think Diane told me about that. Thank you, Diane. So I'm just going around and smacking my darks now. I'm gonna get some dark in there. I mean, there's a big dark bike right here, right? Maybe we could hit a couple little darks in here, under things. You know, if you wanted some of this tarp or whatever above there, we could hit a couple of darks in there. This guy's pretty dark. And we wanted a couple of dark things along the wall there. And we got a painting. Now, if he's standing here, he probably would catch a little light since I sort of invented all this. So I'll throw a little shadow on the ground. And maybe we'll pop a little light on his head too later. Shadows. All right. Let's go for a color comp now. Okay. Do we have enough time for this? We're just going to go really quick on this. So don't think about too much detail. We already put in tons of detail on the last one. So about halfway, we'll have our mark about there. And you can just throw in a few little lines if you like. I think it's a good idea. I do it all the time. All right. And I started off with a little box about there. I think I made mine a little bit lower than that, something like that. So there's that box, and then there's another little box right behind it. And it just kind of goes like that. Here's that thing. And you've got a little doorway there. I mean, we don't have to get this arch absolutely perfect. See, all we're really caring about now is just color. So you don't have to get everything perfect. We're not looking to do a painting here. Although sometimes I really like the way these look. Another arch back here. And a little arch within it. We've got to get, this guy's head comes a little above. So when we actually do the painting, we shouldn't darken him in. That way we can let the color do the work. So he's a little above. Maybe the other lady over here is a little below. Give him longer legs. Got another lady up here. Maybe her head's right there. And see how they're just sort of figure indications. All kinds of neat stuff going on in here. Just looks so fun and busy. You got this little tarp going right in there. That's neat. These tarps just sort of hanging down. You could even indicate where you want those slated things to be. That's about all the drawing I do. You know, maybe a couple of things over here where the rug is. Rugs are sitting down right here. Okay. Cad red and cad yellow. Make yourself a orange. I need some cad red. There we go. And let's just hit all the orange things. We got a lot of orange over here. We're just gonna let it flow like that. Just let it flow. You can be pretty brave with your color. I mean, pretty saturated too, because it'll be muted down when we put a shadow on it. So we've got a lot of orange back here too. I wouldn't worry about being too. There's not enough distance in this piece to worry about atmosphere. And there's some red on the rugs. Try not to use too much water, especially when you're doing these comp skis. You kind of want them to dry quick. They might end up sloppy. It's okay, because they're mainly there just to be kind of a quick steady for you. I see some orange way back there, kind of yellowish, kind of light. Lots of reds and oranges in here. More red right there. Red carpets. Bring those down a little bit lower. So here's the thing. Don't paint the carpet. Paint the shape of the carpet. I mean, I like this sticking out. I don't even mind the color of it, that green. It's kind of a nice relief from everything. We'll put a little bit of color in that. It's just Prussian blue. Feel free to get as bright as you want on people's clothing. You don't have to paint them exactly like they are. There's some clothing back here. That lady's wearing turquoise or something way back there. Way back here. She's wearing pink. Do you have to paint it pink? You don't have to paint exactly what you're seeing. You might want to paint it something more interesting to you. I'm using ultramarine blue on the guy. I know this has a color to it, the road, but if you look at it where the little pieces of light hit it, it's very bright. So I'm not going to put anything on it. And this too, I'll just leave this white. I'm definitely not going to paint all that patterning on there. If that was something I do, that would be something I do maybe toward the end if I care to. We do have a couple of little plants that are nice. I want to put a little plant. I'm using the ultramarine blue for that. Little spots of color. The door, kind of a reddish brown. In the arch. Red, yellow, and blue will give you that. Just mix red, yellow, and blue together. I put a little more, I used magenta for my red. So you notice how I'm hitting my colors first, and then I'll throw shadows over them. You could do it the other way. I could definitely work out all my shadows first and then throw my colors over that. It'll work. Both ways work. Traditionally, though, most people do it this way. These are called local colors. Or what would the color be without any real hard light and shadow on it? Somewhere on there. Somewhere on those colors. Oh, this gets some color in it too. All that. Well, we should do that when we do the shadows, though. How about we just do some shadows? I want you to make me ultramarine blue with a touch of magenta in it. And I think more, yeah. About 50-50. We'll do it that way. So you come up with this sort of violet color. And you can decide for yourself whether you want it to be more of a blue violet or more of a red violet. I think my gut is telling me to go more red violet. Just a little bit more on the red side. Okay. And so I had, I put this in shadow. And all this. And some things in here. This. And this casts a shadow down onto the wall like that. All that's in shadow. You know, we could even, I didn't even think about this, but we could pretend there's a tarp up there or something, and maybe it's casting a little shadow over this corner right here. Why? Because it just adds to these shapes. No other reason. Put a little shadow on her shadow side. They'll have some shadow. So will he. In there. Just to frame this door. This walkway right there. And then I liked a little bit of a shadow kind of coming down on this wall. know why I left that red. And of course, all this in the foreground's in shadow, so I'm just going to put all of this, a shadow over all of it. About like that. So I'm pretending that the wall is casting a shadow around like that. And then we have these maybe a little darker than that. My violet went a little bit blue on me, and I like that. Let your color vary. Should be almost straight across. A little closer together, a little closer and skinnier. A little closer. Might come up on the people a little bit too. And then I'll just any sort of there's some really light values over here on the walls. Maybe they're kind of yellowy, greenish, possibly orangish. We have enough orange. It just gets really bleached out. So whatever colors you put over here, just make it a very, you could even put sky up here if you wanted to. I know there's probably buildings up there, but who knows? Maybe you wouldn't be able to see the sky there. I don't know. And, well, yeah, we were going to put some of these on the top here too, right? All right, we're about ready. You see how doing a couple of studies can really help. Oops. Use a little Prussian blue, smack a couple of darks. You can use violet too, just a stronger version of what you used in all this. Violet might be better. There's a couple of darks in here. A couple of darks on the walls. Maybe inside there. You see how it's not the detail that makes it work, it's the abstraction. It's the shapes, the values, the colors, all these hard edges, all these cast shadows going everywhere. So let's all right. Now we've done our homework. See, look at it in different ways. Look at this. Good idea. Something to put that up on. Try to put it right right there. Okay. Okay. I'm probably going to need a pencil sharpener. There it is. Ready? Let's go on a trip. And not only is it a trip to maybe imagining yourself in a foreign country or whatever, but also just doing watercolor is a trip. It's like going on a trip, right? It's kind of scary. That's part of the adventure.
Rob,
Yeah.
would you show that study again? Let me take a picture of it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll do that too. Did you guys get it? Okay. Let's do it. Okay, so about halfway. You don't have to draw a line all the way through it. That's about where the horizon line would be. But I will just draw a point right here, and I don't think you need any more than that. I mean, you could put some more, I guess, for this the roof up here. So if you wanted to, if that helps, just put them up like that. It's just a little underdrawing. So when you have that there, it just keeps all your lines going in the right direction. So you don't have to hold a ruler up to it or something, you know? All right, so I can say the base of the building's about there. I can see my little square. I want to give her a lot of room here. I like that arch. Gorgeous, love all the patterns too, they're great. And just straight across. And you don't have to be very delicate with the drawing or anything. That's where people run into trouble. And the thing will start looking like one of those architectural renderings. I know, I used to do them. It's not what we're going for here. We're going for something that looks more human. So there's our box right there. We've got a door opening in there. We've got sort of a thing like that. That goes down there. We've got another one. Let's say we only want this about this wide. And maybe we'll just put that one down there. So they're kind of a neat looking awning. I mean, there's even no design to it if you wanted to really get into the whole, like, you know, or not, whatever. Okay, beautiful. I really pulled that thing in far, didn't I? I gotta have enough room. I guess I will. We'll see. I'm gonna take my arch way over here. I'm gonna put it way over here. It is very close to this building too. Okay, I'm gonna make I like that arch. I want to make it nice and big. I don't care if it's not that big. It's my arch. Straight across. And right. Then it's got that other arch in it. Way in the background. kind of frames everything. Why does mine look like it's tilting over? Come on, Rob, straighten it out. The line's going straight up and down. And what else? So the people's heads, I need to make them up a little higher. I need to make this arch up a little higher. Maybe the other one too. I'm just gonna make mine up a little higher. Because I want to, there we go. Nice, there we go. There's some sort of emblem in there, which is really cool. Okay, so since we started off with the guy both times on the other one, we might as well start off with him here. And his head's a little above the center. And I'm just gonna see him, watch, I just put in the head, come down, put in kind of like a boxy kind of thing for his body. I know he's got an arm that kind of comes out to there. But what you don't want to do is draw too much. You want to figure out a lot of this with your brush. So something like this is fine. I'll draw a little darker. Like that. Give a little longer leg back here. You know, a lot of times when I'm painting these, I don't even draw the figures in. I just kind of drip them in. Because I don't want to, I'd rather the color do the work. Because, you know, you're going to see all these pencil lines in there. And sometimes it can make too big of a deal out of themselves. So, yeah, like that. That's good enough. And the lady's over here. And she's got her purse there. And the legs. And then the other lady's looking at her. A little taller. And they don't have to really matter that much. If your proportions are off or whatever, it's okay. And there's some people in the back, you know, I'm not even with these people in the background, there's no point in drawing them. We know about what size they're gonna be. As long as you know their feet are gonna be higher. Their head's gonna be like here. So as they get further away, their feet might be higher. Okay, let's go up here. Let's say we draw a big box for the arch. Yeah, let's say we want the arch to come up to about there. Like that. Again, the arch doesn't have to be perfect. What I do is I'll for something like this, I'm going to figure out, okay, there's where the arch starts. So I'll start it in there, and I'm going to want it about that thick. And I'm going to go around to the top, and I'm going to go around like that. And it's very close to the horizon line. So where this other one, you know, kind of comes in, and it pulls in here. They're about right across from each other. Something like that. Maybe I could have made it rounder. And then there's a thickness to that white. And it goes like that. Kind of comes in and then straight down. So I made my doorway a lot bigger, which is fine. I guess I could have thickened up this area right here and made it, yeah, it is actually thicker. Not that I really care, but it certainly could be thinner. You don't have to sweat it out over. There we go. And our lady. Now, I call this drawing the mask of the face. So let's just sort of generalize about how big she is. Just kind of scribble her in like something about like that. Okay, let's say she's standing about right there. I draw what's called the mask of the face like this. And it's probably smaller than that. Let me draw that. And I don't see why we need any more than that. We've got this sort of plant right here. You can do whatever you want with that. Make it more colorful if you like. Put bougainvillea on it or something. I don't know what. That might be a little too Italy for that. All right, we got a little thing there, a little thing there, and who knows, maybe something else. And like I said, you could get crazy with this design in here. I'm not. And you see how this plant over here is really close to the corner? Corners can be a little bare. So if you have a corner that's a little kind of bare in your little scene, whatever you're doing, throw a plant over it. I do it all the time. Maybe a little bit over the doorway too. Just warms up the scene, when you have plants in somewhere. I could even see a plant here where that bike should be, but I think we'll have enough shadows and stuff in there where we'll be fine. There'll be drama. And we have a couple of little. Again, I don't want to overdraw them. I don't want to put any more ripples and things in the drapery. You'll figure that out with your paint. Doorway here, going down to our focal point, about like that. Nice little dark. You could include the guy's legs in there if you feel like it. I noticed looking at all these photos, they sit out in front of their markets. So sometimes they're more interesting than the people walking by. And there's stuff in front of them. Little rugs and stuff. Okay, we have over here. Here's our guy. We have just basically a big square. fact, I could move that over a little bit. Yeah, all kinds of blue stuff hanging around. It could just be stuff hanging around. Look at all those patterns. You could go crazy with this thing. I mean, really. And we will. We'll go as crazy as we can in the little time we have. Little awnings, things like that hanging around. Maybe a little doorway back here. The bottom of the doorway would be about like that. Maybe there's a little curtain hanging over that. Some stuff on the ground. Could even put another person over here. Although I just see little windows and things. We certainly could have more people. I'll probably make those up with just paint. You don't have to draw everything in. So you want space. Space for your paint to flow. If you clutter it up with too much drawing, I've done that so many times, I have to tell you. Now, if you're feeling insecure, just lightly draw these little things in. Make sure they get wider. See, further apart. See, that's not far enough, but I just put in there. I need to put them, like, this one should be here, straight across. Make sure they're straight across too, okay? Or it'll feel like they're walking on a downhill slope. In fact, I could put this one right here. So that a big gap, smaller gap, smaller gap, smaller gap. Same up in here. That's enough drawing right there. Maybe I'll throw in a little tarp on the top. I like kind of having, I love those tarps. They're great. Oh, there's a neat looking plant hanging out on the top of this. I didn't see that. That's cool. I didn't see that. Okay. Painters. I'll give you a couple minutes. I know I rush you. It's kind of my job to rush you. It's watercolor, you know. If you labor on it too much, you're just gonna, you don't want to sweat too much of the small stuff.
So Rob,
Yeah.
once you've done the basic drawing, before you paint, you don't lighten the pencil drawings?
You
or-
can. You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm doing my own, I'll just do this, and you know, sometimes I just leave it. I mean, well, there's the one from the other day. I mean, I drew that pretty dark. This is the one I did the other day in the plein air class, and so you can't really see the drawing in it. See a little bit in there. So I'm just going to leave it. I know you would think that it would really show, right? And by the way, go ahead and draw these lines too, if that helps. We can even pull a couple up here. Let's see. Because, you know, that can, getting those lines right can help you. Good enough. Okay. I'm going to start with that orange. Whoops. You know, yeah. I'm just going to pull some over here. Pull it on the front. I've seen a lot of it over here. I'm going to pull some on the walls too. Make it a little more yellow. That's what I'm doing. Very light. That's going to dry lighter too, and I want it light because I want it to feel like light's hitting the wall. Really bleached out light. No, I'm just going to go ahead and throw a little blue sky in there. I don't care. Might not be that way, but I think it might be a nice color relief. I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine and throw it up in here. I didn't know I was going to do that. That's part of painting, right? Giving yourself permission to just take chances. And what else? This is just white. And I would love to get into all that intricate pattern work, but that's something I might do in the end. I mean, I don't think I'll do it here today, but I would attempt that more in the end than I would in the beginning. Let's get some in here too. And I paint this, I kind of treat it like a mosaic. See, just patches of color. I'll hit those darks later. Some red in here too. Since I have the red on my brush, might as well and just let it bleed. You know, the part of the beauty of watercolor is giving the watercolor permission to be beautiful. Well, we force it around so much, and then it just rebels. But it wants to be beautiful, you know? What I mean is it's this stuff. It's this watery stuff. I'm going to tap a couple of pieces of color in there. I got that big old red. Maybe hit some orange in that. There's all this warmth down here too. Now I'm throwing down a little bit of water. And just float around a little red in that. Maybe I'll hit a little bit of magenta in that. Fantastic. There's some blue on the top. I'm gonna go pure ultramarine blue on this tarp over here. I don't even care that it's a tarp though. I like the color relief because we have all this orange and red. We need some balancing stuff. Maybe I'll just take that all the way up to the top. Nice and dark too. I'm holding mine on there with paper clips today. I thought I need something to hold this piece of paper on here, but see? But those clamps I always use, they make it too wobbly. So whatever works, right? We have all this green on the top, which is kind of neat. I'm gonna Prussian blue in there. Huh, that's not Prussian blue. Yeah, that's more Prussian blue. What's this? Oh, that's a brown. It just blends right in. Maybe some yellow in there too. See? Leave the white in there. See the white? Leave it. Like this, leave it. You don't have to cover up all the white. You see how I took something really complicated and just made it into an area just to spill paint around? That's what we're going to do on the whole thing. It should look like you are just having a blast. Because you were. I'm going to use magenta, yellow, and just a touch of ultramarine blue. And I want to hit this door. I know this is going to dry lighter but I have a little idea on the door. And I hardly ever just keep one color in a big area like that. So I'll hit a couple other colors in there. You know, maybe a little bit of ultramarine, possibly some magenta. Let it swim around a little bit more. How about some cad yellow too? Why? Because it needs some variation in it, that's why. And I think we can do something on the road here. Yeah, like this. With just a little bit of yellow in it. Big area. I don't want it just to be white. There we go. The color of sunlight's typically in the yellow region. I'm just going to put this over the whole thing. Try not to let it get too dark either. It'll kill I call it the snap. That snappy, really contrast between the lights and shadows. So I'm going to hit a little bit. I'm just going to take my rag over here, especially, and keep that a little bit brighter so it doesn't have to be bright everywhere, especially back here. This will all be shadow. Okay. We're getting it covered. Slowly but surely. This is just, I'm just going to say white on this. some greens for the plants. So Prussian blue, cad yellow. Maybe a little bit of a little bit of red in there in your greens, because a pure green will look kind of funny when you're trying to paint like a natural green. A little bit of red in those greens is good. Pull a little bit over the edge of the pot. Yeah, so it looks more better. I know there's some English teacher out there thinking, what did you say? You did not say more better. Mister, I'm gonna put a little plant back here too. Because plants they just warm the place up. Watch, I'll put it on the corner right here, watch. You'll see. It just makes things more better. Okay. And maybe, like a special color in there. You could break out your opera there, George, or maybe like a turquoise.
Definitely.
Yeah, why not? You can paint those tarps any color you want. Prussian blue. Maybe a little yellow in it, if you like. Maybe a little yellow in that. Just kind of break it up. And then the paint just does its thing. That's what you do. You give it permission to do this. Look at that. Blooms everywhere, sediment quality in the paper. Some puddle. We're just hitting all those local colors right now. Got another one here. Again, I think I'd go with a cool color because we have all this warm. Something like that. Didn't know it was going to go that dark though, but it doesn't bug me. Okay. And I noticed in the background they have these little awnings way back there too. Way back there. I'm just going to hit a couple of them. It all adds to the story. There's just all these sort of, jagged shapes of the tarps. They create these great shadows. We'll get more of those on there. Oh, this tarp right here has some light on the top. Whoop, wish I would have left. Maybe I can paint a shadow behind there and keep a little bit of that top. You know what I can do is just tell myself I'm just giving that a little bit of a top to that awning. So we have some. Oh, so I think we should start with the shadows. Well, we didn't do the people yet, did we? We certainly could do the people after we do the shadow. Hey, let's do that. Forget about the people. We're going to do the shadows first, and then we'll get to the people. So I'm going to use ultramarine blue and a lot of it, and magenta. If you want your shadow to be grayer, just use ultramarine blue and, I'm sorry, use magenta and the Prussian blue. It'll still give you a violet, but it'll be a lot more gray. Because the Prussian blue is green, it's got a kind of a greenish tinge to it. So it'll gray red. Okay, here's the fun part. Oh boy, let's just start here. This is safe. Paint right over that doorway, I'll hit it later. Oh, I kind of want mine a little bit bluer than that. It's okay to vary your shadow color too. So this is going to cast a shadow. Like that. And this casts a shadow. Yeah. Oh, wow, so the light really is. There we go. And all this goes into shadow here. I'll show you a little trick. Because this plane is facing downward, and so is this. Well, yeah, I left a little piece of light right there on the top. If you notice, there's a little bit of light hitting there. If you take and hit a little bit of yellow, see, in these areas, that's it. It'll feel like the light's hitting here and giving us some reflected light under those. It is fantastico. And then I just let it bleed, do its thing. We also have some little shadows in here. Maybe that would only come to about there, huh? Probably be a little lighter in that since it's on white. You can either you can just add water to it, which will look great. Or if it's just too dark, just blot it. It got pretty dark to be on white too, or something light. Let me blot that a little bit. Good enough. This all back here is in shadow. All in there. And this doorway. Mr. Man's pants there. And we have all this blue here too. That's just ultramarine blue. 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 Keep them watery. And since I have that blue on my brush, I'm going to thin it out a little bit and use it in the shadows of her drapery. That's all. She would cast a shadow onto, yeah, there it is. She'd cast a little bit of a shadow onto the wall too. So would this. Cast shadows. This would cast shadows onto the wall here. This, these two. Okay, now I'm gonna go back here to the arch. And there would definitely be shadows on the ground underneath the arch. There we go. I guess since we're doing this whole blue potted plant theme, might as well hit a couple over here. Who knows? Maybe they probably wouldn't be like that, but who cares? Who cares? I'm just thinking of it as color. We're breaking up the warms here. We get something dark right under here too, right? Right under, see, right under the arches. See it? Right under this little overhang thing in there. You'll get something dark. It's just not accepting that much light in there. I definitely left out that little street light, whatever they have in there. I'm not feeling that. Okay. All of these things, maybe some more rugs right there. Not really sure. Just looking for something to cover this up. We have this. All right, that was just kind of brown. Okay, where am I going now? Lost my way. Okay. Let's
To the people.
Do the people? I want to.
We catch up here a little bit.
Sure. I was just going to throw some shadows on the ground. Yeah, those did draw it a little dark. Oh, whatever.
Robert,
Yeah.
could I ask you just a real basic question about using your brush?
Yeah.
Okay, you're using the same brush all the time, right?
Yeah.
So every time you go from color to color, you dip it in water, dry it out, and go to the color.
Yeah, when I go from a different color, like for instance, right now, if I went to, let's say I have this violet and then I go to a blue, I really don't, because they both have a lot of the same color in them. But if I go to like a red or a green, yeah, I'll clean it out thoroughly, and then I usually dab it on my rag, and I get a little bit more water on there, and go into the color.
Okay, so a question about mixing. You've got red on your brush. You want to make orange. You dip it right into your yellow, right? You don't worry about messing up the yellow with the red. Does that make sense?
You want me to tell you how I actually do it? Or do you want me to tell you to do it properly?
No, I want to know how you do it.
I make a big old mess, is what I do. And I get all kinds of good stuff that way too, by the way. But properly, you might want to use a different brush.
Oh, okay.
To do that, or just clean your brush and yeah, I don't know, you guys can see that, but I'll hold it up to here. My yellows can get kind of messed up, so that's not good. You can come out with crummy looking yellows. So when I want to clean it up, I just kind of take a little water and go like this off to the side. When you need a perfect yellow, there aren't any really strong colors in this thing, so
Okay.
but I'll tend to do that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Yeah. It's not easy. Oh, I forgot. Let's see where we are now. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's go for those shadows. And I'm not, sometimes I'm really organized, it's life, right? Sometimes I'm really organized and sometimes I'm not so much. And I've done paintings where I was really organized that were horrible. And I've done paintings where I was totally disorganized and things just turned out amazing. And I don't know why. And just vice versa, too. I tend to do my best paintings when I'm in a huge emergency. And I was like that commercially, too, when I did commercial art. I remember getting myself into this trance, and I would just paint, and then when it was all over, thinking to myself, I don't even remember doing this painting. Where was my head? I was lost, and that's one of the secrets, I think, right there, just turning it over to your intuition. So that would be my little cast shadow right there, going over the back wall. Maybe a little bit dark on that. That's cool. All right, so I'm just gonna say that maybe that shadow, I like my shadows to go like halfway over. So I'm gonna go take it halfway over this guy here. I'm gonna have part of him in the light, part of him in the shadow. Even though I know he's all in shadow in the actual piece. I'm just gonna do it that way. Throw a little more blue into mine too there. I know I got my plant. I want a little bit of light on my plant. It might actually be impossible, but I just do it anyway because I want it. It's a painting, Okay. Yeah, just let these areas. Oh, and by the way, take your shadow right over this stuff. Right over it. I know it's a sacrifice. We're trying to group it all. See, I grouped it all into a big shadow shape. And since we have that on the brush,
So you're doing this fairly wet, huh? It looks
Yeah.
very wet.
yes, I guess that's just how it came out. Yeah. straight across, straight, thinner, thinner. And he's gonna get a couple of these going around and look at this. Yeah, so are they, right? Maybe another one. Nah, I don't want to ruin it. Ruin so many paintings by putting in too much. Oh, that's working, you know. That's working. I'll do that. I'll keep doing that. Oh, maybe I should have stopped when the getting was good. All right, so we'll do this way. A little bit thicker. Maybe one in between. Look at that breakup. I love that. I remember in high school, I don't know, you guys probably, if you love National Geographic, like I grew up on National Geographic, do you remember that bazaar scene? That really famous photo? That bazaar scene? I don't know if you remember it, but well, I'm gonna cast some of these down the wall too. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Ready? Oh, that is cool. There's a really famous one in the National Geographic, and that's where I used to get most of my photo scrap because we didn't have all this, right? We just had magazines. Remember those days? Oh my gosh. I used to have a card file full of photographs and little photographs I would tear out of magazines, and that's how we did it. Maybe something a little dark in there. That probably would be darker. But a little something dark in there. Oh boy. Kind of fun to bring it up on here on this wall too, huh? I don't want to go nuts with it. Certainly could though. That might be fun. That's called, again, overdoing it. When something's working, we always want to keep doing it. But it reaches that point of critical mass, and then it stops being good and it starts being yucky. Such is life, right? Maybe a little bit of shadow on this other side there, a little shadow on there, a little shadow. Shadow. Sometimes it's something really dark at the base. And this stuff is still wet. It's still painting itself. Even this other stuff, which is damp, you think it might be done. Have you ever done that? You look at the painting, you're going, wow, it's pretty dry to the touch. And then you come back an hour later and you're going, what happened? There's something different about this painting. And it could be that you just see it differently, but it could very well be that the painting just dried. Different, a little bit lighter. I'm using a little bit of Prussian blue, cad yellow. I'm going to hit a couple little shadows on the left side of my little planties here. I think that's a little bit of blue. It sure is coming down dark in my It's not that dark that I'm seeing in the video. There we go, a little something on the shadow side. Just breaking up that wall, put a little sign there or something. All I wanted was a shape. Things hanging down. Let's get on those people, huh? So what do you want them wearing? I mean, her shirt is the same color as all the walls and everything. I don't know. I like the lady behind her shirt, so I'm going to put in that aqua. Just Prussian blue. Thin it out. I probably could have got thinner than that. Here. Yeah. Some pants. A shadow on the ground. Yeah, this lady's wearing black, but you know, you don't have to use black. I wanted to, make it a little bit lighter on her. There we go. A little bit darker shadow for that little, there we go. Whatever the color of their faces are, looking kind of reddish. That works for me. And you could have other little faces in the back, just little nothing. Maybe throw a little hints of color back there if you like. People wearing, I mean, you could put pretty much any color you want. How about green? I like that. This gentleman in the foreground, wearing dark clothes. I don't know if I want him wearing that darker clothes. See, blue, we have so much blue around. I think I'm going to go with more red in that blue. So I just used something more magenta and a little bit of ultramarine blue in that. And I want to, yeah, maybe hit a little bit lighter in that. Darker in the shadows. Got dark hair. Just let it bleed in there. See how loose you can be? Let's go around hitting our darks. Got this doorway right here. pure ultramarine blue. We've got little darks in here. I don't want them to be a huge deal. Maybe some darks up in there. Maybe a little Prussian blue up in there. See what that does? Just pops it. Darks at the base of things. See, watch this. See? Usually at the base of things. This pretty dark in here. Dark in there. Oh. See, we're at the end of the painting because I'm just doing little spots of things. We're picking over the painting now. I didn't think of something, but this is something I wouldn't think of normally, but these would be casting shadows right through our tarp here, so I could throw a couple of little shadows through the tarp. Whoops, like that. Think of little things like, we got a dark doorway back here. A couple little window things. Something dark back here. Really dark, big. Another big doorway there. This guy just turned out to be a big color field. Keep adding to them. Maybe a little ultramarine blue in that. I could take off a little paint with a dry brush. Usually takes it off. Just to get that split between his legs. Makes it look like he's walking. They call that the W. Kind of looks like a big W. So I didn't get everything I wanted perfectly. But I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe this lady, a little color on her face. Maybe a little bit on her hand. I leave a little bit of white on the edge, just to give her a little, like a highlight. No reason to go into a whole bunch of detail on her. But you certainly could. No more yellow on my plants. If you wanted to go nuts, you could even start putting in some of this tile work, just to kind of abbreviate it. As we get back here, hardly any. Can even put some in the shadows. I think we're about ready to call it finished. Yeah, there's all kinds of finishing touches you could do, and I would take your time and don't rush. All those kind of things, just little shadows, little nooks, maybe little architectural details or windows, or you don't need as much information as you think. It looks like a lot of information already, you know? And we didn't even put that much in. That's the beauty, and that's when your paint, when you keep the beauty of the paint and still get a nice image. When you don't overwork it. Enough. Signature. I think this needs Henry's stamp of approval. You guys, look at this. You can get this from Henry too. He hand makes these. He carves it.
Oh, this is the last name seal you got. That's a.
You don't do it anymore?
You want maybe English letters? I can do that as well.
Yeah. So you get that on there, on the stone there.
Yeah, it says
He
shape.
cuts it out of stone. I hope is that wet enough? Oh boy. I don't know if it's wet enough. It's wetter up here. I'm gonna give it a try. Hey,
Yeah, that's nice.
cool. Stamp of approval.
That's good. Well done.
Maybe I should have moved it over a little bit, whatever.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to get a stamp, you guys. He tells you the meaning of your name in Chinese and everything. Well, no, I hate to call it Chinese. Is it Cantonese or is it Mandarin? or-
Mandarin. It's the same. Written language is same in Japan.
Okay.
in China.
Let's see what we got here. I've got a couple of people. You don't have to have it done right now. Just letting you know. I know I kind of got involved with a few things. We started a little bit late. We need to get right on it from right from the beginning.
Rob,
Yeah.
I'm still looking at this, the area of color and shape on the right of the composition. And it started out with shape, and then you put the shadow on it and just really blobbed it up. And now it's back to define shape as well as colors that had gone. They had gone away when you put that shadow over it. So what's the deal with that?
Oh yeah, you got. I mean, right when you put it on, the paint's gonna it's going to, for one thing, if you go over it too much, like, if you notice, I just put one stroke on there and left it. So if you go over it too much, it'll start pulling up the under color, and then you'll end up with a murky mess. But you just put it on there once, you've got to give it like 10, 15 minutes to penetrate the paper. So, yeah, so it takes a little time to get over there, and it's still not done yet. I see a little glare on there, so it's definitely not done. Yeah, it's still moist, but I know it's weird, huh? Well, I should have cast a little shadow right there. Darn it. You know, you miss these things. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I mean, it is so mysterious what happens with. I've seen things with watercolor that are just phenomenal. So yeah, you got to give it a little bit of a chance to penetrate the paper. 10, 15 minutes. It's right when you put it on, it might be a little dark.
Is the idea, if you know you're going to do that, that these colors are maybe of a higher chroma than you ordinarily would. So that when you paint over them, they'll come back, your color shapes. Because these reds and oranges were gone. They were turned into magentas, or magenta mush.
Yeah, and then they came back.
Now they're back.
They're back. Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's mysterious. I will tell you though, if you go over it too many times, you'll turn it into mush. It's one time and you'll leave it. If you notice, most of the work was in the drawing. The painting part actually was just big, giant splotches of color field. I call them color fields. In other words, I have this sort of blue right here, but it has yellow in it, it has a little red in it, it has a little shifts of color in it. So every time I put down a big color, I might put a little bit of little accents to it. Even this white right here, I sometimes will touch a little touches of yellow in the white, and I mean, this is 1%. You see what I'm doing there? Just so the color doesn't look so dead. Give it a little bit of, that's too much. Little shots of, so you don't kill your value, but you get a little bit of color in there. Little bit, like that. There. That looks more like a paint. I can even do the same thing back here. Still like about almost a zero value. Oh boy, it's so fun. Too fun, you guys. I still think maybe these are a little on the dark side, but oh well.
Remind me how we send you our photos.
Just take a photo of them and send it to my email.
Is that the one with like Robert 11 or something along those lines?
Yeah, Rob
Okay.
Art. It's Rob Art.
Rob Art. Okay, thank you.
And try to photograph it right. I mean, in other words, so I don't have to move it. I can't move it around in there. In other words, I can't rotate it. In order for me to rotate it, I have to download it and then rotate it and then upload it back. And this way, it's really easy. You can just send it to me on the email. If you're not sure, send it to me a few different ways. Okay, I think we're ready to start. We got a lot of people here already. Okay.
Rob, change your resolution.
Oh, thank you.
Let me take a picture first.
And I just thought of that. What was the other? Did someone say something else?
I want to take a picture before you start critiquing. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Let me change the resolution. This is going to be weird. Ooh. Makes it huge. on my page, on my thing. And I see a whole bunch of things in the chat here. Let's see, wait, real quick. Upsplash. Okay, thank you. Making sure. And share screen. All right, we're getting a whole bunch of them in now. Oops. Charlotte. Hey, nice one. Nice color.
I know, but it was very hard for me to slash that shadow. I've got to go back on his legs because I just don't do that type of painting, but it looks kind of interesting.
Right. So yeah, you can come back on his legs and reinforce those darks a little bit if you like. Let me get my little. There they are.
I don't know about slicing that shadow with those lines on the roadway, but I guess I think the shadows have to go under the shadow too.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. I like this big area of blue you put in there. Nice.
I think I need some blue on the left side.
Some blue over here?
Maybe to match the blue at the right upper.
Uh-huh.
Little spots here.
And you have blue over here, so.
I don't know. It was a real interesting exercise. I followed along, which was amazing. You're amazing to do this type of work.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to share with you and paint with you guys. It really is. I mean, it's the best. Anyway, your color looks amazing. Your color is fantastic. It's you don't have any problem with it. You've done a lot of these paintings, so you understand the technique of watercolor painting. You've really got down.
Yeah, it's just the shadow situation.
Okay, so
the lines in the road going across should go under the shadow too.
These lines should go under what shadow? Oh, in here?
Yeah, the lines going across. Yes.
Well, they are shadow. So this is shadow and this is shadow. So, and this is light, right?
Yes.
So you won't get any lines in this shadow.
Okay. I see. I don't know.
I know it's weird, but you do get little cracks in the what do you call it? The tile work. So that's why I threw in a couple little indications of that. And
yeah, I may do that when I do his leg.
yeah, I mean that's a good way to ruin a piece. Really, it doesn't need it. If it doesn't need it, then fine. But if a couple of accents are fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was an exercise of shadow for me.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And the little extra lines on top, I would never have done something like that.
I just love them.
Yeah, that adds a lot to my painting. I think I'm going to have to start being more focused on those type of things for extra accents.
Yep, definitely. Nice color.
Well, I had the opera and the George colors added in there.
You can't lose.
I know. How's Hector? I didn't hear how Hector came out. Is he okay?
Have you heard anything, George?
Yes. On Wednesday, he had 9 hours of surgery to replace his mitral valve and aortic valve. He was taken off the ventilator yesterday and extubated, and Michael had a good conversation with him. I haven't heard from Michael today. I'm waiting until after class to get a follow-up. But
you'll have to tell him that we give him our prayers.
yes.
And we miss him.
It'll be a long recovery, but here's hoping that he's going to do well, and he'll be back in class, and we'll enjoy his company.
I'm so glad. Thank you for the update.
Thanks, George. Thanks for the update.
Okay.
Thank you.
So good to know. Well, okay.
Thank you very much for the critique.
Thank you. All right, Francis. All right, here we go. You got the lines. I like that door. And let's see. You know, I would think, here, let me get some, I hate to use black, but it's all I got. So a little shadow, you know, it's weird to think of the foliage as having shadow,
Right.
but just get a little bit on those. I mean, this is probably all in shadow already, so that's fine. A little bit over there. And then just remember when you put it on there, throw a shadow on the ground.
Okay.
A little shadow on the ground always helps. This is fine. I like your pepples. All of the pepples. Walking all around, having a good time. Now, I think I would have kept their heads a little closer together.
Okay.
I mean, you know, almost on the same level. Maybe this one. And I think I would have pulled actually this guy down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So these two are fine. Maybe if his head was about there,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
and then there, and then a little bit. I don't know if it's that long on the legs, but something like that. You know, sometimes when I draw somebody in a little awkward perspective, I'll put them on top of something. Like if they're in nature, I'll put them on top of like a little bit higher hill, so they're on a little bit different plane. So maybe he's on top of a box or something, or something. I mean, make him fit in a little bit.
Okay.
And we got some, you know, odds and ends.
Yeah, for
This
me.
looks good. This area looks really
for-
good.
For me, there were so many lines, and then I
Yeah.
didn't want to pay attention to the lines, but I kept coming back to them, and so it kind of didn't work very well. But I'll do it again.
Definitely. I think I would throw a little shadow over this.
Okay.
This area right here. Yeah, but I just want to say this area looks great. And that's probably the hardest area, technically. Your perspective. Look, see how your perspective converges? See?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Whoops, a little tilted there. So did you do another one? Who is this? I'm sorry. I see the XO one and
Oh, yeah, that is Michelle.
Michelle.
Yes, I sent two others that are probably turned the other way. The one that actually says the subject line is probably the correct one.
Is the other one better?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think I was too far away.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I got. And everything kind of came out like in the midtones, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so then what I would do is come back and smack some darks. Although I like this red right here. I don't know if you should hit that. Even though
I
it's-
liked it. Yeah, I
you gotta-
know. It's kind of weird, but I liked it.
Well, that's the thing with art. When you like something, you just got to leave it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not correct. That's my, now I have sacrificed things just because they're, I need some correctness, so I'll do it. But most of the time I go by, hey, look, I mean, I don't care about correctness. What I care about is good art. And so that'll always dominate over the correctness. But sometimes when I need something and it needs it, then that's when I'll break out the Robbie handbook, you know? Okay. So smack some darks. I'd probably hit some darks in here, a little darker. Think of some darks in there. Maybe this doorway here. Maybe get some dark. Those good some good areas for dark. I could even see this a little bit,
Okay.
and not that dark, but darker. Because it's not really separating from this wall enough, and this wall's in light. So I would get something in here. A little bit darker. And then I would get darker with these. I would use what you have as a drawing. And just a drawing. This on the other hand is just fine.
Okay.
I think these guys need to go a little darker. And I think personally, this whole shadow, like all of this, could go darker.
Okay.
Just treat it as a big wash. And let it make sure it's totally dry before you do it.
Yeah.
And don't go over it twice. Just put it down once and leave it. So it feels like a shadow,
Okay.
Please don't use black like I did. I think your color right here is magnificent. So I would go with something that or bluer maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to Mia. Oh, today, movie today. Oh, okay, so she's okay. So we're at Ellen. A little out of focus, but doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry about that.
It doesn't matter.
Looks better.
I don't need to see details. I'll wait, and that's just fine. Okay, so I could see this whole area right here
Yeah.
being a bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's get something on there. I don't know if the blue is dark enough. See, it's a
Right.
better color than black, but that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
Small things. Some shadows. These people would be casting shadows on the ground. That'll help to ground them a little bit. Even maybe, I didn't put any under my guy here either, but something down there. And all this like lattice work or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think I'd go over with these darker values, a little bit darker on some of these.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see about that. Do you have any questions? Looks good. Everybody's getting this area really good. I would have thought that would have presented the most problems.
I know, it's funny. No, I think it just it was great to follow along, and I don't do very many landscape type things, so this is all very new. So I'm not happy with the paper. I have kind of terrible paper today. So
yeah, you'll fight that. You'll fight the terrible paper.
Yeah, I knew it. I'm not happy with the way the paint landed on the paper, and I just couldn't seem to control it. So I feel like that's a lot of my problem, and I'll struggle a little with values. I'm still trying to figure out values and getting.
So does everybody.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I mean, I struggle with values. I usually get them right, but I can't tell you how many times I struggle with values. I do all the time.
Yeah, I think too. It's just what I'm realizing is, the more you paint, the better you get. So.
Yes. It's mileage.
Yeah.
It is mileage.
And just learning what the paint's going to do. I feel like that's where I'm at right now.
And one thing I have found out too is when I take time off, I don't lose my ability.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get rusty, and it takes me a little while to get back into it. But you don't lose what you've gained, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
To a certain extent, but not too much. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, you got good darks in this piece. That's usually the problem with watercolor. So.
Yeah, I think I feel like sometimes I struggle with the midtones.
those are the tough ones.
Yeah, those are the tough ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, usually people don't nail their darks, but it actually that's what everybody. I mean, that's the real struggle is the midtones. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All
You
right.
know, Rob, I think it's really important about the paper to experiment with different types because the paint acts differently with all different papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hot press or cold press.
Yes,
Anyway.
it does.
Something to think.
You know, I have some hot press arches here. I wouldn't mind doing a hot press painting with you guys if you want.
Oh, I would love to see you do that. I have some of that, but I'm scared of it.
I would like that too, Rob, just to see, just to practice how you would, say, control things on on like hot press.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me write that down, hot press. Because I want to...
Give us a little warning because I would need to buy the hot press or rough.
Do you guys want to do it next week?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I have rough and I have hot press too, so...
I think I have both.
Yeah, I have both.
I bought them by accident many, many years ago and never used them because
we need to get rough.
Hot press.
So you recommend purchasing hot press, you're saying, by next week?
You guys want to try it next week or do you want to wait?
Yeah. I would love to try it next week. So.
Depends on how fast you can get delivery.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it
Right.
depends on, if people don't have it, so maybe.
Okay, then how about we give it 2 weeks?
Okay.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, when I started off doing watercolor at Art Center, I was all by myself and I didn't know, nobody taught it. And and so I actually tended to like the hot press better than I was getting all these great watercolor effects on it. I like all this puddling and stuff. So that's how I got into it. And so it's actually my first love that was my first paper. That's what gave me my first look. And that's what I went out and got work with in illustration. I did, I did the Wall Street Journal and I did I did Playboy Jazz Festival, all kinds of jazz festivals. I did the Sundance Film Festival, all in that technique. So, love to show you. Okay, nice color. What do you think?
I think the right side got really messy.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's in shadow. Mine's real messy too, but you got some good looking colors and values in there. I mean, now if you wanted to, maybe you could put a couple of little patterns on some of, like you did. See?
I started, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could totally, and you could paint negatively into those patterns too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, after the shadow, I actually added more color on top. That's how I got the color.
Right. Well, it works for me.
Okay.
I think your shadow on the wall in the back is a little could be a little darker.
Okay. You're talking about the lines?
Yeah, on the wall, in the very back. Yeah.
And I don't like my people. I have a hard time with little people.
Little.
I call that little people in paintings like this. I call them the little people.
The little people.
Yeah.
We should definitely talk about that more.
Yeah, I would love a whole class on how to put little people in paintings.
You know what? A lot of the people in here have had my other classes on drawing.
Oh.
On the basics of drawing, and I'll show them how to do. We're going to do that. I'm going to give you a demo on little people.
Okay.
But I'm probably not next week because I want to keep it interesting. I don't want to do little people every week. I like to call them little pebbles, by the way.
Okay.
Little pebbles. Okay. But I'll definitely have I want to do a little demo where I show you I things to think about. These aren't bad though. These aren't bad.
Okay.
You know a little secret? Make the
Yeah.
legs a little long.
Okay.
Yeah.
On all of them?
Well, like for instance, this guy right here, the big guy in the front. What you could do is just like he looks like he has a belt around here, right?
Okay.
Make his belt like around here,
Okay.
just a little higher. You'll see it'll do something in the proportions. But don't worry if like my guy's just a big blob.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a little longer legs. Let's see. Yeah, you got some shadows. Yeah, make that a little darker. Number one, you have nice color, and that's you got to have that. That's the one. That's probably the number one thing about painting that I like anyway. I mean, of course, there's other things, but one thing I like about is the color is probably more important to me. Like if your values are right and the colors are great, oh boy, I love it. So that's my thing because I just happen to have an affinity toward color.
So do I actually.
Yeah, I can tell. You don't paint like this unless you do. Yeah, nice fresh color. Yeah, really. I love this shadow right here. This is so fresh. That's one swipe at it and you're done. And I love the way you kind of abbreviated the pattern. You see everybody see the way she's doing this? That's a great way to handle all the pattern on this thing. Just little, I think I might come back after class and hit little abbreviations. I do it on brickwork too, and maybe a little bit of the tile down here too, but that's fantastic. You don't
If
need
you
very
add
much.
to your painting, can you email it to us?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
For a fee. No, you knew that was coming. Now I would throw what I did on mine is I kind of threw the shadow over this way. So all this becomes in shadow right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this helps any, but actually, so this all goes into shadow a little bit. And then one thing I didn't do, which I would do, is just give a little bit of a corner to it like this back here.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a corner, maybe even something up in there. Just a
Okay.
small little thing, but
So this should not go into the trash.
no. Sign that baby. That's beautiful color. If for anything, it's got great color. Hang it up on it's cheerful. I love this plant right here. My gosh, I mean, look at this. There's a painting right there. Just so you know, I have this tool.
Oh,
There's a painting right there. Right there.
I was actually thinking of doing a painting of just that detail. Mhm.
It is beautiful. I say do it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And where are we? Henry. Wow. What kind of paper are you working on there, Henry?
Rob, can you find the second one I just sent moments ago? I added a little more shadow. Sorry. Let me.
Okay.
Did you get that? Okay, great.
Yeah. A little more shadow on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that with your critique on others painting. Yes.
Well, what kind of paper are you working on there?
Oh, I work with this cheap. Okay. This Canson watercolor pad. 140 pound.
Now that's one thing about working on cheap paper. You have to be really on it because it's really easy to mark up a painting. It's nice though.
Yeah, I like the puddle edges, like you mentioned last time.
So that isn't 100% cotton, is it?
No, it's
No.
not. It's wood, I think. Oh, by the way, I love this painting I collected. So I'm glad you show us how to do this shadow thing from the Huntington Garden.
Oh, which one? Oh, you have it up there?
Yeah, you see that? Oh,
let me
I think people cannot see, huh? Anyway.
Yeah. I can't see yours right now. Anyway.
So the shadow is the same you did with the rose garden, the one featured in the class.
Right,
yeah.
with the lattice.
lattice,
Yeah, that was great. That was a good class.
So it was great.
It's the same sort of idea.
Yeah.
Things pulling you in. I'll do it over and over and over in all kinds.
Yeah, that's
I do it in sidewalks. I do
trademark, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, great perspective and let's see here. Look at his grouping of people. Isn't that great? See? You don't have to be really specific. You see how he's really drippy in there. But the people look like they have a little bit of light on them, a little bit of shadow. And they're kind of grouped. But look at this person in the background over here. It feels like could be people back there, but it doesn't really resemble anyone, and that's just fine. You got a little silhouette back here. That's nice. You know?
Yeah.
I think the thing to do, everybody, is just do little
spots.
Yeah, little spots of people. I mean, really small ones. I should give you an assignment on that. Gosh. Anyway. Great. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
Rob,
light.
There's
Yeah.
100 people, 1 week, 100 people coming up if anybody wants to practice that.
Oh, it's a challenge?
It's a challenge, right? Urban Sketchers challenge. Well, it's not even Urban Sketchers. It's just by Liz Steele and Mark Terrell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
100 people in a week?
Actually, it's like 5 days.
5 days.
I'm already doing 30 faces in 30 days. So.
Oh my gosh, that's hard enough. Really.
Anybody else is doing that?
Which one?
That's how I learned watercolor.
It's 30 faces in 30 days, watercolor and gouache.
Yeah, I'm doing that one,
Great.
but I'm like already 3 or 4 days behind. But
I know, so am I.
It's okay. But
I did. When I was at Art Center, I did, one of my teachers who did not paint in watercolor, he just told me if you want to learn any medium, paints 30 self-portraits in 30 days. And that's what I did.
wow, that's
I
great.
think some of them are still the best portraits I ever did.
Really? That's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to make myself younger.
Rob, when you
Yeah.
do self-portraits, you do them live, right? In a mirror?
Yeah. I
Not
did all in a mirror.
right?
I mean, I haven't done any self-portraits in a while. I did one for class. I think we did one last year. I mean,
That would be a good
self-portrait.
homework for us.
Live or from a picture?
To do a self-portrait.
I should have all of you
during the
paint
week
me.
or something.
No, I'm just Okay. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, Rob.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say except awesome. Very
Thank you.
sketchy, very, very loose.
Yeah, this time I stayed with one attempt because every time I do 3, the first one always good.
Ah.
I just use this as a color rough and continued. When you continue to the second version.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got. Oh. I think Dublin.